Welcome to Now Be You, a podcast and global community for ambitious female entrepreneurs. Here we discuss the ways we can empower you to meet us at the intersection of wellness and daily business practices. I'm your host, Leonora, a psychologist, meditation guide, author, entrepreneur, and mentor with over a decade of experience helping thousands of women unlock their full potential. Today, we are speaking with a true innovator in the world of purpose-driven economy, Dr. Tatiana Kazakova Tarnowski, a visionary force. She is dedicated to creating a more sustainable and equitable world. Tatiana's work bridges purpose-driven leadership, systemic transformation, and empowering the next generation of leaders, making her a catalyst for global change. With a strong academic foundation in applied mathematics and system theory, she also mentors women in STEM through Space for Girls, inspiring the leaders of tomorrow. Get ready to uncover the wisdom, the drive, and the vision behind one of today's most impactful leaders. Stay tuned, it's going to be transformative. So let's jump in. So today we are in Ibiza Farm, so you might hear some strange noises around, but we have many animals around. And the most important, we have a wonderful, wonderful dear friend of mine and a wonderful guest and a super leader woman is Dr. Tatiana Kazakova Tarnowski. So Tatiana, there is infinite words and descriptions about you, what you've done in your life so far, being such a young and multifaceted woman. I want to ask you, who shaped your life and your choices to become a co-founder of Leaders for on Purpose? And how did you came so far to this specific moment right now, right here?
Wow. You're going right at it.
Of course, this is exactly a Now Be You global community. You are yourself. You are providing such an important role in this world. So we would like to hear more. How this young woman standing on this platform, creating Leaders for Purpose, and how did you make it?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for coming.
Of this incredible, so beautiful and powerful platform, Leonora. Yes, this could be several hours, but I will make it a bit shorter. I would say that very early in my life, also already as a child, I did not really understand the system that we grew up in. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't feel that the reality that I was seeing in terms of injustice was something that needed to be. It didn't make sense to me. And so it shaped very much, I would say, my inquiry as a young child into how do you make sense of what is happening, and how do you maybe, deliver change. And this is really what I believe I came here for. And so with that, I made the decision to study mathematics.
Well, that's a very interesting turn.
That was a very interesting turn. But it was all about, okay, how do I understand this economy and this system we're living in? Because anything else that I have encountered in my inquiries have not yet, my mind was interested, but my energy in my heart still felt there's something more. And I think this is one of the answers to your questions is I always had a very strong intuition that would guide me to making choices, even though my mind would not really at the beginning be very fond of that. And so I studied mathematics to really go in and understand how does this work. And so when you study mathematics, you see for 3 weeks numbers, for 3.5 months, 3-dimensional space, and then you are for 4.5 years in infinite dimensions. It has all, it's like, it was definitely a dark night of the soul as well. I've learned a lot about myself. However, I really learned about that the way that we are modeling our life and the way that we are modeling our society and how we produce, how our financial system works, is really decided by us as humans. It's not a natural law, right? And the incentive systems or the assumptions that we have done as humanity that brought us, of course, to this progress where we are today. It's not that everything is bad, right? It's not that, but we are in progress. We have achieved a lot if you look back on certain areas in the world. But if you look really deeper into the root causes of what is happening today, then it's all, for me, about the incentive systems of what is incentivized in our society and in our economies, right? What do we associate value with? And so from that moment on, I was like, wow, okay, I want to work, I'm here for the strategy, for the transition to the next economy, to the next incentive systems. How can we embark upon the journey? And with that, then I went again into an academic path to learn as much as I can about strategy and management with my PhD.
So you went there already with a purpose that you was seeing the vision that I'm going to create this leaders on purpose, or was your, let's say, clarification on your path?
Yeah. It was because I joined the Leaders on Purpose CEO study as a co-founder, which was started from my amazing co-founder, Krista. And at that time, I already knew that I want to work on a leadership level and build a better economy, right? And really inquire what are the leverage points and catalysts. And so with that, I made these decisions to go into strategy, to go into strategy consulting, to really understand how do these organizations function. And at what point in time can you actually make a change in terms of you will see consequences and implications of the change happening on a structural level and at scale, right? So I was really driven to this at scale aspect. And so on this whole journey where I was learning, and I was very blessed to have incredible mentors. So it was really, I always had incredible mentors that believed in me and showed me and supported me, and to have way bigger visions than what maybe would exist out there. And I was always the crazy one, right?
It's so interesting what going on your journey and expanding that journey. You mentioned about intuition.
Yes.
And every leader, woman, any leader would definitely use their intuition. And when we are meant to do something, the whole reality just supports us to do this. How long did it take you to realize that you are here to create this Leaders on Purpose platform? Because as far as I know, you are doing it more than 8 years, and it's over 500 CEOs already on the platform and super powerful creators. So when did you start to take on the speed? How did you felt that?
Well, so basically I was in this time where I had to make decisions on where do I go with everything that I have learned. Then a friend of mine, a dear friend, calls me and says, Tatiana, a friend of mine is starting this global Leaders on Purpose CEO study, and you have to meet her, Krista, who is now my co-founder. And so whilst I was on my journey, Krista was on her journey and kicked off in Harvard a global study to work with multinational CEOs to understand how they are starting their transition. And there's also an incredible, beautiful story behind this. So, but the moment we met, it was a click. And the click was also energetic for me. So the moment I said yes to joining this CEO study and to support that work, I actually energetically, for the first time, felt in equilibrium. And because my intuition would be so strong, I really noticed the difference of being in the equilibrium, right? So of course I learned I learned the tools of my journey, with my education and projects and experiences that I've gathered. However, the final yes was that feeling. I already very early in my life knew that this is what I want to be doing, right? I just didn't know yet how I trusted the process. And so I joined Krista into the study and the whole team. And then Krista and I realized, because the momentum was tremendous. We had all these CEOs participate. Then the president of the World Bank at the time witnessed that research, because Krista brought also someone from the World Bank into the research, and asked us to become part of the private sector engagement strategy. For that, president was Jim Kim at the time, who then asked us to bring those leaders together that we've researched and worked with to the IMF World Bank Spring meetings, which is one of the strategic meetings to bring together the private sector, meaning where they really want to understand how the organizations like the World Bank and others work with the private sector and multinational corporates, of course, because they have a massive scale, on delivering important outcomes. And within us, they really saw the opportunity that we were able to curate a community that very meaningfully was interested, was actually doing the work. And therefore, if something like this happens, as we know, you have a very different level of conversation and strategic partnerships. It's not anymore something that just happens at the side, which is not about to judge that, but it's just not enough. And there's more opportunity there of significant collaboration when you come on a strategic, on a peer level together. And so this is how then the Leaders on Purpose platform was born. Krista and I made this decision to officially co-found it. And then, I mean, the journey accelerated.
It's incredible. And, you know, it's like I just... knowing you on the island, as first of all, as a dear sister of mine, you know, it's like we constantly sharing our soul journeys and internal innovations and exploring this planetary, you know, journey. And here you go, you know, with so many things you carry on your shoulders, in your mind, in your heart, you know, and it's a lot of responsibility for such a young woman as you are. How do you, let's say, what are the main 3 challenges right now creating this whole platform and seeing what's happening right now in economics? You know, what do you face as the biggest challenges? And later on, we will go into a little bit more to discover the future.
Yes, absolutely. On a personal level or on the level of
well, both.
Both. I think one of the challenges and opportunities, it's always a mix, right? It's never really, that's what we've learned. We went through many challenges in myself, and I really learned to embrace the moment something is challenging, it's an opportunity to grow through, right? So I would say this was a very challenging journey to get to that point. But what are the points to grow through right now and to face, right? With an upgraded mindset and heart set, I would say, the opportunity to grow. However, what does this exactly mean in the world where we are today and where we want to go into? What does growth mean? What does it mean for Leaders on Purpose to say, how do we create better economies, or how do we engage our community so meaningfully that it drives the outcomes we want to see and the community wants to see, and hold ourselves accountable to that process? Right, so we are right now in this very creative challenge, if you see what I mean, to make something as easy and simple to be part of, because it's really for everyone to be part of, and this is what we see, and to boil down the complexity of the beauty of what we have built. So I think that's like, this is one of the challenges we're going through. The other one is really also, you know, to identify the team. To expand it wants to be bigger than us. It wants to be bigger than me and Chris, right? It's bigger. It's to be shared and collectively embraced. So how do we allow for that space to happen whilst we are working, you know, every day on a non-stop basis? You know, how do you navigate the little details and, you know, and focusing on the big vision at the same time? And then also we are right now raising capital. So also, who are the right investors? Who is it who we actually really want? And what are they representing? Because it really, really does matter.
It does.
Right? And I would say these are right now, with Leaders on Purpose, the 3 major growth challenges, opportunities that we're going through, that of course have huge implications also on us personally and as a team. And after now 7-8 years, right, you really feel, you know, I think you feel the transformation, right? It's an evolution of the next.
And before we're gonna go to your personal approaches and challenges, I would like to hear about, let's say, this journey, Leaders on Purpose. How do you see how can you explain these tangible shifts? What do you already see on the platform? What can you share with people? What's happening right now?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes us wake up, makes me wake up every morning. Plus, of course, my incredible husband.
He's really wonderful.
But also, that excitement of the possibility. Because what's happening on our platform and in our community is that we have leaders and showcases of large-scale projects, business cases, transformational regional programs that truly push the boundary of what's possible in terms of a bit more traditional business sense, and really innovating and working on upgrading the incentive system, meaning really going deep into a deep inquiry of making it possible to make better strategic decision, allocation of capital to build thriving economies and thriving outcomes. And this is who we are and who we want to be. We want to showcase these amazing programs and projects and leaders that work already now on a certain scale, where we can learn from and share with others, that other organizations see, hey, this is absolutely possible. We are in a time of transition and of innovation. It's time for progress. We always are progressing. Humanity is not stagnant. Absolutely. Right? Yes, we have challenges to face, but like for leaders in purpose and like on a personal level, it's also our collective opportunity to grow through.
Absolutely.
And that's what's happening. We really see that we are the catalyst, like the gateway for that. And that's why we are really excited. And we see also, so much potential and positivity in this context, right?
So looking at the economics, and how do you see the future in it? Because people talk a lot based on lots of fear and limitation. And you also, including in this question, you are mentioning me a lot about planetary mindset. How does that work? How do you meeting so many people, so many leaders? Do you see them as awakened beings? Do you see them as the futuristic workers, or do you see them still in the old paradigm?
I think everyone, as we all are in our own process of the journey, right? And with Leaders in Purpose, we look strongly, of course, first on the organizational level. We very much engage on an organizational level, and then the leader as an individual is on the journey and the organization on the journey. So what does that mean now as answer to your question? I would say those who join Leaders in Purpose have absolutely shared that they absolutely care about the future. They absolutely care about the future of the planet, the future of society, and the future of their organization, right? And they're walking the talk with the teams and the whole stakeholder system that they engage to make it possible to do a shift, because they also see the opportunity of a thriving new future. Additionally, what they bring in, however, to your point, is that they see the opportunity of that we can only get there together. It's a new mindset, that it's also time to innovate ourselves. How do we create value? How do we build the markets of the future? What markets do we actually want to have, right? And I would say a purpose-driven leader, a leader on purpose, is someone that is able to hold a very strong vision and pragmatically understand the process they need to go through to convince and work with their teams and organizations and investors and stakeholders, which is really not easy at all. Right?
Absolutely.
And I would say these are the leaders that are joining Leaders in Purpose. And then you have those that sense there is something incredible happening, and they feel there's something more than maybe the challenges that are right now happening, because it's not easy as a leader in the world today to put yourself out there and to speak about these things. It can have all sorts of implications and consequences, right? So to find also a safe space to even learn and inquire, because at the end we're all humans. Everyone wants to come back to the kids and be like, hey, yeah, we're doing this, wants to have the employees happy. I mean, I've never met yet someone that was like, yeah, no, we really want to go down this destructive line and this is how we do it now. Usually it's not having the knowledge of the how-to, not the community, not to be able to talk about it, and pragmatic examples that bring it down from the universe and start somewhere. And no one needs to be there yet. It's not perfect. But it's a collective journey under uncertainty with a strong intention on what we want to create. And I would say that's what Leaders in Purpose is, and the community.
And that's how beautifully you are building this path, and transitioning. And it's, again, as it's coming through you, And as you're saying, this purpose is outgrowing you. And every leader, let's say I was talking to, and I will be talking to, everyone is mentioning the same thing. Oh. Outgrowing bigger than I am, than us. And this is a trust. This is a kind of, you are letting go your baby. You are letting go the idea, and it's out of your control. How does that work in your life? Let's say every day, in a daily life. Like, I'm sure it's a lot of powerful women, many interesting people listening to this podcast. And right now, they are facing their, let's say, challenges and problems and doubts. You as a leader who just mentioned that you have to really focus on a strong, idea and mission. How do you, let's say, deal in daily life when the doubt comes, when you are tired, when it's challenging, when you are just losing the faith?
Yeah.
What do you do? Is there any practice? Is there anything that you are literally doing as a reinforcement for yourself?
Absolutely. I never lose faith. But absolutely. It has been personally such a journey, and I would also say spiritually a journey, in terms of asking the hard questions to yourself, right? So one of the things that I learned, I would say this is roughly 10 years ago, when I realized that maybe 15, okay, so there are a couple things that I've learned in my career and realized where I needed to make a decision in my mindset. One was when I was a corporate strategy consultant, and this life was very, very intense and dynamic, very interesting. I learned so much, but you're like on a plane almost every day. You don't sleep, it goes on and on. And there it was the first click where I needed to make a decision. Either I will be a slave to that dynamic, or I'm embracing the dynamic, right? So I would say that was very helpful learning and shift in my mindset that helped me today as an entrepreneur massively. The moments where you're just being drained, okay, how do you realize that moment, and how are you having the bravery to stay present and to breathe again and find your practice in that moment that allows you again to be in the flow. It's almost like losing control versus not losing control, right?
Yeah.
Trust. Then the second part is never compromise with your essence. It hurts. It will always energetically hurt you if you compromise with yourself in every part of life. I really believe it's a society. I don't believe in that, you cannot have everything. There are certain beliefs that we are brought up with that I started to question relatively early in my life, because why can't I have everything? I think if I really know what I want in my heart, if I'm clear, and it's not that it's easy to be clear, but I can have everything I want because I know myself what I want. It doesn't mean that what I want is the same what you want. It's the same it's not from a materialistic sense. Yeah. It's from a place of, do I know myself? And I think that's the journey that never stops, to find yourself. But I think in those moments when you have these challenges, to take the presence and the opportunity to find yourself again, and then to not compromise with what you're finding. And this means not compromise in your personal life, not compromise in your business life. Don't have that meeting if it doesn't feel right, if it's draining you. Even if you need right now that cash flow to be secure in your organization, don't do it if it doesn't feel right. Be strong enough, and something else will happen, and to trust that dynamic.
It's so beautiful what you just mentioned, being as a mentor, for many internal leadership programs. I just realizing that everyone who wants to really healthily lead others and thyself is important to build leadership internally. Yeah. And this is what I see very strongly established in you. And this is where we met when we were saying and laughing about it. Is never compromise yourself, even with the people you love the most. Yeah. Because this will never will be true, yeah? And this is how you're bridging this, let's say, path in economy and in leaders of purpose and working with women. And it's so many other things, how you're implementing this in your personal life and also the life and your purpose. And it's so beautiful. And wanted to ask about this question, what you mentioned about that it is not true that we cannot have it all. So when you mentioned that, I really loved it because, you know, like the programming, when I'm looking at this super wonderful, young, extremely busy woman, it's like, and then you come to our farm and you say, I would like to have these seeds and plant my garden. And I was like, how do you have this time in your life? And you just mentioned me that the same thing, that it's not true that we cannot have time, even we are doing big things in our lives. So can you go a little bit into details? Because I do believe that people are listening, the ones who are really busy and the ones who carry a lot of responsibility in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And it took me some iterations to get there. And I'm constantly needing to remind myself, but I think something that you have just mentioned is so powerful, leading yourself. This is, by the way, also something that we in Leaders on Purpose say, you know, leadership based on, of course, hierarchy and your own leadership, right? That's where you're creating. So with these concepts, right, you can have it all. How do you, during the day, let the busyness, again, not take you away, meaning, oh, I'm not good enough if I'm not productive enough, to define what actually productivity means. And what does it even mean, I don't have time, right? What are we actually saying? I also really am a strong believer in mantras. So if I keep saying to myself something, my mind will remember that pattern and will keep reinforcing that energy in me that I will feel, oh my God, I really don't have time. Oh my God, I really don't have time. But we have these experiences where sometimes we are like together and no time has passed, or sometimes suddenly all time has passed. We know that this actually also an experiential factor here. And so my advice is from my own journey that the moment, again, when we start to learn how we feel in those moments where the energy drains through too many meetings we don't think we actually are important to have as a call, right? In the world of Zoom and online meetings, what is actually important? How much time do you allocate for that? You know, what are the outcomes that you want to achieve on the day? What is a priority? Prioritizing the priorities, and with grace, managing them. And within that frame, what I really did do, especially this year, I went on the journey and I literally did cut out, you know, certain meetings that I said, no, right now for Leaders on Purpose, it's not priority. Priority is X, Y, Z, you know, which of course comes again with a space of clarity. But I'm also a strong believer you cannot have clarity if you don't create space for yourself.
Exactly. That's so important. And so many times we so strong and so strict to ourselves. And this is very important, especially for every leader woman, to be loving towards. So, you know, as mothers, we are so loving our children and they fall down, you know, every second when they are learning to walk, and we are lovingly just embrace their journey. Why don't we embrace our journey when we fall down? Yeah. And that's kind of a loving perspective where we can really look at our life. We all fall down and the journey will never be finished. So we are here because we are always evolving and growing and falling and standing up and again getting stronger.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the beauty, to see how we are flourishing. Yeah. And it's, you know, going to a little bit to the ends of our conversation, but really seeing what a powerful and meaningful work you're doing. I'm just wondering, you know, are you planning to have a family? Because there is so much about this limiting belief about, oh, if I'm successful in my career, my business, my purpose, I might not have a family or children. I might not even be a mother because it's not my role, or I cannot allow myself to do that. How do you see this perspective from a women perspective?
Well, that's a question that I've been really pondering about, particularly now in the last couple of months, also with my husband. You know, we looked together and we both, you know, I feel very blessed that I have a partner on my journey with which also no compromise in our essence, right? We are so aligned in the way how we want to serve this planet and humanity and leadership and ourselves. And so we basically together said, and me also as a woman, I said, well, to your point, maybe it's also social conditioning that I think I can't do that. Yeah. So I'll just do it. And of course you want to be smart about this, you know, and you know, have a little bit of a sense of how to, but don't stand, this is my learning, not to be in my own way with my own thoughts, but rather figuring it out, okay, this is the person who I am, these are the things that I love to be. I will not stop love doing these things. It will be something additional in my life. I mean, of course, little do I know, because I don't have yet, right? I have a beautiful bonus daughter that shows me a little bit how it can be, you know? I got a soft introduction.
Totally.
But I really feel trust and be in clarity. Again, I feel, of course, there are ways how we can manage this journey to come, but who says that it's not meant to be? This is just society saying that. You know, there are so many children on this planet, and women in all I mean, we are so privileged in our circumstances.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I think we just go for it and trust the process, and we will figure it out. I'll figure it out.
We will figure it out.
Yeah, but of course, very grateful for, you know, the community that we have and the family that we have. Yeah. Because I think if something that I can add to, and that's why I think the work that you're doing is so important, I see how powerful the community is and the ability to witness each other, because it does reinforce the beliefs and the positive beliefs, right? Absolutely. It helps because you're not alone really when you're going through the struggle and the process. So I would really say to everyone out there, find your tribe. Yeah. Find your community, find your platform, find your place. It is a real driver.
It's really unlocks all the limitations and all the limiting beliefs, no matter what we had before. Therefore, you know, we are so inspired by this platform now, Be Global, where I see the vision where every women leader will find its own place, not because she needs to follow or find out something, but to reinforce each other, re-inspire each other, remember that we are coming from all different angles and we are just coming to rest, to recharge, and to really know that in all these aesthetic places like this one, Ibiza, Philippines, and so many others, we are planning to gather together, just to know that I'm not alone. My sister, my other me is doing something else and also facing the same challenges, but we all can do that. Yes. And once we are together, we are unlimited. Absolutely. This is how I see this power coming us together. Is again, the community time is here. Yes. And this is what is important for us to know. Outgrowing our personal limiting belief and opening to the possibility to co-create, collaborate, yes, and grow together. So by closing our amazing, sunny, wonderful, inspiring conversation, I wanted to ask you, what would you like to leave as inspiring advice for our listeners and also our community, the powerful leaders who are here listening today? What would be your gift to them?
I would say trust the journey. Don't compromise with their essence. Magic and beauty is on the way. And there are way more positive news out there than maybe what we might hear. A better world is possible, and it's in our hands, literally. And join.
That's the most important. Going to this trusting, I would like to detail a little bit. So many people sometimes they get lost. But lost not because even the leader sometimes in the dark soul of the night saying, what does it mean to trust? What does it mean to feel? How would you recommend to come back to this inner sense of feeling and intuition?
I think that's a very important and powerful question. If you are right now alone and you are in a place where you don't feel you have a community, and you know, because one is definitely look for your tribe. But before this, in all these moments of despair, allow yourself, be kind to yourself, take a breath and feel into your heart as often as you can until you feel something. And think about what would bring you joy right now in this particular moment. And it doesn't need to be big. It can be looking at the sunshine. It can be looking at a flower. It can be drinking a coffee. It can be looking at your beloved. It can be whatever it can be. It can be seconds. And it might sound so little, but it's a drop of an ocean that will become an ocean. And every single time you keep doing this, and this is how you will, there's no other way, the energy will start coming. And you will stop dropping into this. And then you will finally hear your own voice. And now you can start to find the tribe and the community, you know, but it's like catching yourself in this moment and being brave And then it starts
Starts to shift. From contraction to expansion. We always say, it's like once I work with women leaders and they say, look, but when I'm facing this reality, it's so problematic that I can't even get out from there. And I say, okay, just stay there.
Yes.
Stay there, face that problem, that challenge, and just try to focus into that shift, how it would look the way you would like it to be. So you are in the challenge situation and suddenly your imagination starts to take you to another journey. And that's the key where I'm using so oftenly in my meditations and what you mentioned, this moment of expansion takes you to so many solutions. So many solutions. Yeah. So there is no even one situation without possible the way out, a solution, and exploration. So with that said, I want to thank you so much for being not only my dear friend, but an inspiring woman for so many other leaders and so many other women, and for the world at large.
Thank you so much, Leonora. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. Amazing.
Yes. Wow. Beautiful. Look at this.
Alpacas and sun and the joy. Thank you for listening to Now Be You podcast. If you liked our conversation, please subscribe the podcast and join our community where much more authentic conversations to come.